The sound you hear is the ticking clock. We are in the final countdown to limit global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius, and time is not on our side. Exhibit A 2024, with the hottest day on record and the hottest months on record, this is almost certain to be the hottest year on record. As the president of CoP29, Azerbaijan will do its best to find common understanding between developed and developing countries, between Global South and Global North. During CoP29, agreement will be signed with BP from UK to build 240 megawatts solar power station in the district of Jabrail. This project will provide decarbonization of one of the biggest oil and gas terminals in the world, the Sangachal terminal. Today, Azerbaijan's share in global oil production is 0.7, in global gas production is 0.9%. I have to bring these figures to the attention of our audience because right after Azerbaijan was elected as a host country of CoP29, we became a target of coordinated, well-orchestrated campaign of slander and blackmail.
Vulnerable. This is how the Maldives is often portrayed. The new climate finance goal must reflect the true scale of the climate crisis. The need is in trillions, not billions. 28 COPs later, emissions still rise, finance falls still short, and our hopes fades. Let us prove this time it will be different.
For nations like Antigua and Barbuda, these are no longer warnings. They are devastating daily realities. Every year of inaction compounds our vulnerability and deepens the injustice that we endure. We cannot wait any longer for empty pledges to become meaningful action. For decades, wealthy nations pledged $100 billion annually to support vulnerable countries, yet these promises have largely gone unfulfilled.
The extreme weather requires from us a serious commitment at this COP with respect to new collective quantified goals that enable us to reverse the current trajectory and to fund mitigation, adaptation, and of course loss and damage.
We've known the science for so long, but still, some are still not accepting the fact that climate change kills. Last year, 300,000 people died, and it has just contributed to the death of over 220 of my compatriots in Spain, in the greatest natural disaster of our history.
Yet only 5 months ago, we experienced horrible floods that led to the deaths of 267 and displaced 281,000 people. This troubling climate story is not confined to Kenya. Africa as a whole is already grappling with the climate-induced annual losses and damages on infrastructure, agriculture, water, tourism, and other climate-sensitive sectors, ranging from 9 to 12% of the continent's GDP. This finance COP can make it happen by agreeing to scale up the climate finance based on a new collective quantified goal, quantum for not less than $1.3 trillion annually from 2025. This is key to meet the adaptation and loss damage needs of developing countries. We equally need to agree on a global goal on adaptation as we significantly increase ambition for the NDCs to limit a global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels.
Without climate justice, there can be no real resilience, and I wouldn't want other countries to face the plight Pakistan faced.
Of our little amount of land, we've protected half already. Of that huge expanse of sea that we have, we've already protected 32%. In other words, we have achieved the UN 30 by 30 4 years ago. Having done all of that, what do we find? Rising sea level. It's threatening our port, our airport, our housing infrastructure, our fuel farm, our power station, our courts. Everything is being threatened. We have to relocate our houses. We have to relocate infrastructure. It may cost us $15 to $20 million to relocate houses, $15 to $20 million to relocate infrastructure. Where will we get the money for this? Well, there's been a lot of pledges through COP28, 27, 26, now 29, and Adaptation Fund, Loss and Damage Fund, $700 million, but the mechanisms aren't clear. What Seychelles is asking COP29, let's make this a resolution that we shall ask that the mechanisms to release those funds.
The world is on the razor's edge. Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine, the war in Gaza, and the tragic crisis in the Middle East, civil war in Sudan. These conflicts and many others are leading to humanitarian disasters for civilian populations. You can count on the European Union. We are stepping up to the plate with financing, $31 billion. That is more than our fair share.
I come here from a little country in the middle of Europe, Albania, where we are proud to have 100% renewable energy production. But what does it mean for the future of the world if the biggest polluters continue business as usual? Far be it from me to lecture anyone. After all, we are used to being lectured, not to lecturing others. But my point is, what on earth are we doing in this gathering over and over and over if there is no common political will on the horizon to go beyond words and unite for meaningful action?
The national sovereignty and priorities are key to address the global climate change challenges and to transform the global energy system. The continent should have equal access to the technologies, knowledge, investment, and nuclear energy in order to increase the share of clean and renewable energy for achieving this goal.
We need a balanced energy mix to enhance the transition process. We must use all available technologies, not only renewables, but also gas, biofuels, hydrogen, CO2 capture, and in future nuclear fusion, which could produce clean, safe, and limitless energy.
As I said in Dubai last year, I strongly believe that nuclear power is essential to meet climate goals. It gives me hope that nuclear energy is more and more popular around the world.
Kazakhstan is firmly committed to the global climate agenda under the Paris Agreement, pursuing an ambitious target towards carbon neutrality by 2060. Despite accounting for only 1% of global emissions, Central Asia faces multiple climate risks.
My country, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, the world's largest lung, is known as a solution country with its vast expanses of forests which regulate global climate, its rich biodiversity, its freshwater reserves, its immense wetlands and vast tracts of arable lands, as well as its many critically essential metals for cutting-edge technologies in this area of energy transition. The DRC is at the heart of climate challenges. I would join other African group countries to call for the NCQG, the new collective quantified goal, to be established at to be set at $1.3 trillion by 2030.
In the first 100 days of my government, we launched Great British Energy to create clean British power. We created a national wealth fund to invest in the green industries and jobs of the future. We scrapped the ban on onshore wind, committed to no new North Sea oil and gas licenses, and closed the UK's final coal power plant at the end of September, becoming the first G7 economy to phase out coal power. Today, I can confirm 3 months ahead of the deadline, the UK's 2035 international target, our nationally determined contribution to reduce all greenhouse gas emissions by at least 81% on 1990 levels.
Brazil is recognized as an environmental powerhouse, but also a leader in food security. I will have the honor of presenting at the CoP29 Brazil's NDC. Our target reflects our highest ambition to reduce emissions by up to 67% by 2035, compared to the year of 2005.
And we also are planning to have low-carbon energies and technology implemented and to promote a sustainable energy. Our objective is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 80% and to do so by 2040.
Families running for their lives before the next hurricane strikes. Biodiversity destroyed in sweltering seas. Workers and pilgrims collapsing in insufferable heat. Floods tearing through communities and tearing down infrastructure. Children going to bed hungry as droughts ravage crops. And all these disasters and more are being supercharged by human-made climate change. And no country is spared. The rich cause the problem, the poor pay the highest price. Now at this COP, you must agree to rules for fair, effective carbon markets that support that fight. Yesterday, you made an important first step. You must build on it by agreeing rules for markets that respect the rights of local communities and leave no space for greenwashing or land grabbing. Climate finance is not charity, it's an investment. Climate action is not optional, it's an imperative. Both are indispensable to a livable world for all humanity and a prosperous future for every nation on earth. The clock is ticking. I count on you and I thank you.